Have you ever wondered who the most notorious serial killers from Pennsylvania are? It's a chilling question, one that leads us down a path of darkness, a journey into the minds of those who committed unthinkable crimes. We're about to explore the haunting tales of 5 individuals whose stories are etched into the annals of Pennsylvania's criminal history. They are figures of fear, figures of dread, figures of despair. Their actions, their choices, their lives, all shrouded in mystery and horror. Each story is a chilling reminder of the evil that can lurk in the most unexpected places. We're going to delve into their lives, their crimes, and their ultimate fates. We'll learn when they were caught, the sentences they were served, and whether they still walk among us today. This exploration won't be for the faint of heart, so are you ready? Dive into the dark world of these notorious killers with us. Our journey begins in the late 20th century with Edward Gingerich, a name that, even today, strikes fear into the hearts of many Pennsylvanians. Edward Gingerich was not your typical criminal. Born into the quiet and insular Amish community of Rockdale, Pennsylvania, he was a man living a life seemingly untouched by modernity. Yet beneath this unassuming exterior lurked a darkness that would soon cast a long and chilling shadow over the community. In 1993, that darkness surfaced in the most brutal manner. As Gingerich committed an act of violence so horrific it would forever haunt those who knew him. He murdered his wife, Katie, in a fit of rage, a crime that was shocking not just in its brutality, but also because it was the first known homicide within the Amish community in over 200 years. His crime sent shockwaves through the community, a peaceful group of people unaccustomed to such horrific violence. It shattered the tranquility of the Amish way of life, leaving a lasting impact that can still be felt today. The law, however, was swift in its response. Gingerich was captured and stood trial for his heinous crime. His defense argued that he was suffering from a mental illness, a claim that was later substantiated by medical examinations. In 1994, Edward Gingerich was sentenced to 5 to 20 years in prison for third-degree murder. However, his time in prison was cut short. In 2001, after serving just 7 years of his sentence, he was released on parole due to his deteriorating mental health. Edward Gingerich's story is a chilling reminder that even in the most peaceful communities, darkness can lurk in the most unexpected of places. His name, forever etched in the annals of Pennsylvania's criminal history, stands as a stark warning of the horrors that can emerge when the human mind is pushed to its breaking point. Edward Gingerich, a name that sent shivers down the spine of Pennsylvania residents. Next on our list is a man who shocked the city of Philadelphia, Harrison Graham. This individual, with a seemingly ordinary facade, was anything but. Beneath the surface, he was a monster who instilled fear and terror in the hearts of those who came to know his true nature. Harrison Graham, known as the House of Horrors killer, was notorious for his heinous crimes that took place during the mid-'80s. Graham's victims were primarily women, often those who were vulnerable and marginalized. His gruesome acts were not only horrifying, but they also highlighted the deep-seated issues of societal neglect and indifference. Graham's house was a chilling sight. When the police finally entered his apartment in August 1987, they discovered a sight that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The remains of 7 women were found, their lives prematurely ended by this predator who roamed the streets under the guise of a quiet, unassuming man. The terror that Graham spread was not just limited to his victims. The entire city of Philadelphia was gripped by fear, knowing that such a monster was amongst them. But the reign of terror finally came to an end when Graham was apprehended. His capture was a relief for the city, but it also served as a stark reminder of the monsters that could be hiding in plain sight. The trial that followed was a media circus, with every gruesome detail of his crimes laid bare for the world to see. Graham was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The sentence, harsh as it may seem, was a small consolation for the lives he had taken, the terror he had spread, and the pain he had inflicted. Today, Graham remains behind bars, a testament to the justice system's ability to hold such individuals accountable for their actions. But his story continues to serve as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of an ordinary man. Harrison Graham, a name forever etched in the annals of Pennsylvania's criminal history. Moving forward, we encounter the monstrous Gary Heidnik. In the annals of Pennsylvania's dark history, few names strike as much fear as that of Gary Heidnik. Born in 1943, Heidnik was the embodiment of a nightmare, a man who could only be described as a sadistic brute. His reign of terror in the mid-'80s still sends chills down the spine of many. Gary Heidnik was not your everyday criminal. He was a man who meticulously planned his horrific acts. His twisted mind concocted a horrifying game of abduction and torture, ensnaring 6 women in his gruesome web. Heidnik's House of Horrors was located in North Philadelphia, where he held these women captive, subjecting them to unspeakable atrocities. It wasn't just the number of victims that made Heidnik's crimes so chilling, but the sheer brutality of his actions. The women were kept in a pit in his basement, chained and starved, subjected to physical and psychological torture. Heidnik's perverse pleasure was derived from the fear and suffering he instilled in his victims, making him a true embodiment of evil. But every nightmare has an end, and so did Heidnik's reign of terror. His capture in March of 1987 brought a sigh of relief to the city of Philadelphia. The authorities found evidence of his heinous crimes, leading to his arrest. Heidnik was tried and found guilty of murder in the first degree, kidnapping, and rape. His sentence? Death. The court showed no mercy, matching the lack of mercy Heidnik had shown his victims. On July 6, 1999, Gary Heidnik was executed by lethal injection, marking the end of a horrifying chapter in Pennsylvania's history. Heidnik's death did not, however, erase the terror he had caused. His name remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul. Gary Heidnik, a man whose name became synonymous with terror in Pennsylvania. As we delve deeper, we stumble upon Harvey Robinson, Pennsylvania's youngest serial killer. Born in the mid-'70s, Robinson was just 17 when he committed his first murder in 1992. A grim marker that sets him apart. His reign of terror lasted a brief but horrifyingly impactful year, casting a long and dreadful shadow over the community of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Harvey Robinson's victims were women from all walks of life. He did not discriminate in his selection, making him an unpredictable and deeply feared predator. His modus operandi was brutal, leaving a chilling signature on each of his victims that would later help seal his fate. Robinson's capture came about in a twist of fate, a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice. His final intended victim, a 15-year-old girl, managed to escape, her bravery leading the authorities straight to Robinson's doorstep. The terror-stricken community breathed a sigh of relief as the predator was finally caged. In the courtroom, Robinson's cold demeanor was chillingly apparent. No remorse, no regret, just a chilling indifference. The jury didn't hesitate. In 1994, Robinson was sentenced to death for 3 counts of murder. His sentence was later commuted to life in prison without the possibility of parole due to a Supreme Court ruling on capital punishment for minors. Today, Robinson remains behind bars, a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the most unassuming places. His name is etched in the annals of criminal history, a symbol of the dread he brought upon a peaceful community. Despite the passage of years, the memory of Robinson's reign of terror lingers. The survivors, the families of the victims, the community, they all bear the scars of his heinous acts. Yet they also stand as a testament to resilience and the indomitable human spirit in the face of unimaginable horror. Harvey Robinson, a name that will forever be remembered for his heinous acts. Lastly, we face the chilling tale of Charles Edmund Cullen. Born on February 22, 1960, Cullen's name would eventually be etched into the annals of Pennsylvania's darkest history. A seemingly ordinary man, Cullen was a registered nurse, a profession dedicated to preserving life. Yet behind this facade of care and compassion, he was the exact opposite. Cullen committed his heinous acts within the very walls designed to protect and heal. He was a self-proclaimed angel of death, ending the lives of his victims without remorse, without hesitation. His weapon of choice was not a knife or a gun, but the very medications meant to aid in recovery. The fear struck into the heart of Pennsylvania was not just due to the number of victims, which is believed to be at least 40, but could potentially reach into the hundreds. The real horror was in the betrayal of trust, the abuse of power, and the perversion of a role meant to provide comfort and care. His reign of terror ended in 2003. After a meticulous investigation, Cullen was arrested and later confessed to the murders of 40 patients. But the true extent of his crimes remains a mystery, forever casting a long, dark shadow over his nursing career. Cullen was sentenced to multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. He now resides within the cold, unforgiving walls of a New Jersey maximum security prison. His legacy, however, lingers on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside in the most unexpected places. Charles Edmund Cullen, a name that concludes our journey through the darkest corners of Pennsylvania's history. The tales of these notorious killers serve as a grim reminder of the dark side of humanity. We have journeyed through the chilling narratives of 5 individuals whose heinous acts have left an indelible mark on Pennsylvania's history. Edward Gingerich, the first Amish man to be convicted of homicide, serves as a stark reminder that even in the most peaceful of communities, evil can reside. Harrison Graham, the horror from within, showed us that the most unsuspecting individuals can harbor the darkest secrets. Gary Heidnik, the architect of nightmares, proved that monsters can dwell behind the most ordinary facades. Harvey Robinson, the embodiment of dread, and Charles Edmund Cullen, our closing nightmare, both starkly illustrate that the face of evil can be both young and old. Each of these individuals was eventually captured and received justice. These stories of horror from Pennsylvania remind us to stay vigilant and aware, for darkness often lurks where we least expect it.